Every day, the stepmother forced the twins to take a medicine disguised as a vitamin. They became slow, quiet, trapped in a silence no one dared to question. Until one day, the millionaire father comes home early and catches the scene. What he does is shocking. In the sprawling suburbs of Greenwich, Connecticut, where old money whispered through 100-year-old oak trees, Rosewood Manor stood as a testament to success and privilege. Behind its pristine white columns and manicured gardens, 5-year-old identical twins Lily and Lucy Parker lived a life that appeared perfect from the outside. Their father, Jonathan Parker, had built his investment firm from nothing into a Wall Street powerhouse. His recent marriage to Eleanor, elegant, poised, and from an established East Coast family, completed what seemed like the perfect American dream. But dreams, as Michael Davis knew all too well, could hide nightmares. Michael had served as Jonathan's executive assistant for 7 years, managing everything from billion-dollar contracts to birthday presents for the twins. He prided himself on his attention to detail, and lately, those details had begun to trouble him deeply. "Time for your vitamins, darlings." Eleanor's voice carried a musical quality as she entered the breakfast room, carrying a tray with 2 small glasses containing a thick, rose-colored liquid. Michael, reviewing the day's schedule with Jonathan, observed from the corner of his eye as both girls stiffened. Lucy's small fingers tightened around her worn brown plush bunny, a gift from their late mother that never left her side. "Do we have to, Mommy?" Lily's voice was barely audible. "They make us so sleepy." Eleanor's smile remained fixed, but her eyes hardened. "The doctor says they'll help you grow big and strong. Don't you want that?" She stroked Lily's hair with manicured fingers. "Besides, Daddy has to work, and we want to be good girls while he's gone, don't we?" Jonathan glanced up from his phone briefly. "Listen to Eleanor, sweethearts. She knows what's best." Michael watched as the girls reluctantly drank the liquid. Within minutes, their animated breakfast chatter slowed. Lucy's eyes grew unfocused while Lily's head began to droop. By the time Jonathan kissed them goodbye, both were docile, moving with the sluggish uncertainty of much older people. "They seem so subdued," Michael ventured as he and Jonathan walked toward the waiting car. Jonathan shrugged. "Eleanor says they have an anxiety disorder. The medication helps keep them calm, makes it easier on everyone." "Both of them diagnosed with the same condition?" "Apparently it's common with twins. Genetic, you know." Jonathan checked his watch. "Let's focus on the Westbrook merger today, shall we?" But focus was precisely what Michael struggled with during the following weeks. He couldn't shake the image of the twins' transformation after consuming their vitamins. Where once they had been vibrant, curious children who filled Rosewood with laughter, they now moved through its halls like ghosts, pale, unnaturally quiet, and alarmingly thin. One Tuesday afternoon, Michael arrived early to deliver urgent papers for Jonathan's signature. Eleanor wasn't expecting him, and he found her in the garden parlor, speaking sharply into her phone. "I need a stronger dosage. They're building tolerance. Yes, I understand the risks, but they're becoming difficult to manage." "No, Jonathan suspects nothing. He's never home before their bedtime anyway." She ended the call abruptly when she noticed Michael. Her composure returned instantly, like a mask slipping into place. "Michael, what a surprise. Jonathan isn't home yet." "I have documents that need immediate attention," he explained, holding up his portfolio. "I thought I might wait." Eleanor's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. I'll have Marlene bring you some coffee in the study." As Michael passed the twins' playroom, he paused. Through the cracked door, he saw them sitting listlessly beside a mountain of untouched toys. Lucy clutched her bunny while Lily stared out the window. Neither spoke nor played. Their movements, when they occurred, were slow and uncoordinated. Something was deeply wrong at Rosewood Manor, and Michael, who had devoted years to serving the Parker family, felt a responsibility that went beyond professional duty. These children needed help. That evening, as Jonathan reviewed the merger documents, Michael carefully broached the subject again. "Have you considered getting a second opinion about the girls' condition? They seem so withdrawn lately." Jonathan's expression hardened. Eleanor has taken them to the best specialists in New England. I won't have you questioning her care, Michael. She gave up her career to raise them. Of course. I apologize, I only meant, I know you care about them, Jonathan interrupted, his tone softening slightly. But let's be clear, Eleanor is their mother now, and these matters are family business. Family business or not, Michael couldn't ignore what he was witnessing. Over the following weeks, he began documenting subtle changes in the twins. Their weight loss became more pronounced. Dark circles formed under their eyes. Lily, once the more talkative of the pair, had stopped speaking almost entirely. During the rare occasions when Jonathan brought them to the office, Michael noticed their hands trembling as they colored quietly. In the corner. The turning point came during the annual company picnic at Jonathan's estate. While other executives' children raced across the lawn playing tag, Lily and Lucy sat under a maple tree, barely moving, their matching blue dresses making them look like forgotten porcelain dolls. They used to love this event, remarked Barbara, Jonathan's longtime secretary. Last year, Lucy won the sack race. Michael nodded. Do you remember Jessica Thomas, the nanny Jonathan hired after his first wife passed, the one Eleanor replaced with her own staff? Of course, sweet girl, the twins adored her. Eleanor let her go. Rather suddenly, didn't she? Do you happen to have her contact information for the alumni newsletter? He added hastily when Barbara raised an eyebrow. Later that evening, as the party wound down, Michael noticed a delivery van pull up to the service entrance. The driver, a young man in nondescript clothes, carried a small package that Eleanor intercepted before it could be logged by the household staff. She slipped it into her designer handbag with practiced casualness. "Third delivery this month," whispered Marlene, one of the housekeepers, who had appeared beside Michael. "Always the same routine, always handled personally by Mrs. Parker." "What's in the packages?" Marlene shook her head. "Don't know. But after they arrive, she spends hours in her private study, the one none of us are allowed to clean." She lowered her voice further. "And the next day, the little ones are worse, more vacant." Michael felt a chill run through him. "Marlene, how long have you noticed this pattern?" "Since about 3 months after the wedding. At first I thought it was just medicine. Mrs. Parker told everyone the girls have some kind of behavioral disorder, but—" She hesitated. "But what?" "My sister's a nurse. Those symptoms don't match any childhood condition I've ever heard her describe. And why would behavioral medicine make them physically ill?" 2 nights later, Michael received a text message from Jessica Thomas. They agreed to meet at a coffee shop halfway between Greenwich and her new position in Westchester County. Jessica looked nervous when she arrived, checking over her shoulder before sitting down. "I wasn't sure if I should come," she admitted, "but I've been worried sick about those girls." "What happened before Eleanor let you go?" Michael asked after ordering them both coffee. Jessica's hands tightened around her cup. "It started small. Eleanor insisted on giving the girls these special vitamin drinks twice daily. Within weeks they changed. They stopped running, laughing, even arguing like normal kids. When I expressed concerns to Jonathan, he brushed me off. When I pressed Eleanor about it, I was fired the next day." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small notebook. "I kept a journal of the changes I noticed. Thought maybe someday someone would listen." The journal detailed a methodical transformation: mood swings, coordination problems, speech difficulties, appetite loss, interrupted sleep patterns, all emerging after Eleanor introduced the vitamin regimen. "There's something else," Jessica said, her voice dropping. "Before I left, I was so desperate that I did something that could have gotten me arrested." "What did you do?" "Lucy's bunny. She never lets it go, right? Well, I modified it, sewed a small voice-activated recorder inside. I was hoping to gather evidence of what was happening when no adults were around." Michael stared at her. "Is it still there?" "Should be. It's designed to look like part of the stuffing. Eleanor would never allow them to have new toys from me, but that bunny is the one thing Lucy refuses, to be separated from." That night, Michael couldn't sleep. The pieces were aligning into a disturbing picture. He knew what he had to do, but it meant risking not only his job, but potentially legal trouble. Yet the image of those once vibrant little girls fading away before his eyes strengthened his resolve. The opportunity came 3 days later. Jonathan had taken Eleanor to a charity gala in New York. They would be staying overnight. Michael, entrusted with delivering urgent contract revisions, gained legitimate access to the house. After leaving the documents in Jonathan's study, he made his way toward Eleanor's private room. The door was locked, but years of managing Jonathan's properties had given Michael access to duplicate keys for emergencies. Heart pounding, he slipped inside. The room appeared to be a normal study at first glance, elegant furnishings, a writing desk, bookshelves, but the locked cabinet beneath the window told a different story. It took several tense minutes to find where Eleanor had hidden the key, inside a hollow book on child psychology. Inside the cabinet, he found dozens of unlabeled amber bottles, measuring equipment, and a leather-bound journal with precise formulations and dosage adjustments. With trembling hands, he used his phone to photograph everything, then carefully extracted a small sample of the pink liquid from one of the bottles. As he replaced everything and prepared to leave, he heard footsteps in the hallway. Ducking behind a curtain, barely breathing, he waited as the housekeeper passed by. The close call left him shaking, acutely aware that time might be running out for the Parker twins. The next morning, Michael contacted his cousin, Dr. Ryan Davis, a pharmacologist at Boston Medical Center. "I need this analyzed immediately," Michael said, sliding the vial across the laboratory table. "And Ryan, this has to remain completely confidential." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Is this related to why you look like you haven't slept in days?" "It's about 2 5-year-old girls who might be in danger," Michael replied, his voice tight. "I can't say more until I know what's in this." 2 days later, Ryan called Michael into his office and locked the door behind them. His expression was grave. "Where did you get this?" Ryan demanded, sliding a report across his desk. Michael scanned the document, medical terminology jumping out at him. Benzodiazepines, antihistamines, mood stabilizers, and several other compounds he didn't recognize. In layman's terms, "Ryan, what am I looking at? A dangerous cocktail that should never be given to children. This mixture contains powerful sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and antipsychotics in concentrations that would be excessive even for adults." Ryan leaned forward. "If children are consuming this regularly, they're at risk for respiratory depression, neurological damage, and developing physical dependencies that could affect them for life." Michael felt the blood drain from his face. "Are you absolutely certain?" "I ran the analysis twice. Michael, if children are being given this, it constitutes abuse, possibly even attempted poisoning. You need to contact authorities immediately." "I need more. Evidence first," Michael said. "The person administering this is well connected and persuasive. She's convinced everyone, including the girl's father, that they have some medical condition requiring treatment." That evening, Michael drove to Jessica's apartment. Together, they formulated a plan to retrieve Lucy's stuffed bunny long enough to extract the recorder. "The twins have swimming lessons every Thursday," Jessica explained. "Eleanor never attends. She has a standing hair appointment at Bergdorf's. The nanny brings them to the Greenwich Aquatic Center." "How do you know their schedule?" Jessica smiled sadly. "I still talk to Marlene sometimes, and I've driven by a few times hoping to see them." That Thursday, Michael took a rare personal day. He waited in the parking lot of the aquatic center until he spotted the Parker family's Range Rover. The current nanny, a severe-looking woman named Ms. Winters, led the twins inside. He watched as they moved with the same listless quality he'd observed before, Lucy clutching her bunny even as they entered the facility. Once they were inside, Michael called the cell phone number Marlene had provided for Ms. Winters. "Ms. Winters, this is Michael Davis, Mr. Parker's executive assistant. Mr. Parker is trying to reach you regarding an urgent matter but can't get through on this line. Could you step outside to improve reception? He'll call again in 2 minutes." As he'd hoped, Ms. Winters emerged from the building moments later, phone in hand. Looking around expectantly, Michael quickly entered through a side door Jessica had identified, one used by maintenance staff. Inside, he found the observation area for the children's pool. The twins sat on a bench, still fully dressed, waiting for their lesson to begin. No other adults were nearby. "Lily? Lucy?" he said softly, approaching them. "Do you remember me? I work with your daddy." Lucy nodded slowly, her eyes struggling to focus on his face. "Lucy, may I see Hoppy for just a moment? I think he might have something important inside that could help you." The little girl hesitated, clutching the worn bunny tighter. "It's okay," Lily whispered, the first words Michael had heard from her in weeks. "Mr. Michael is nice." With trembling hands, Lucy extended the stuffed animal. Michael quickly located the hidden seam Jessica had described and extracted a tiny recording device no larger than a button. "Thank you, Lucy. Hoppy is very brave, just like you." He slipped the recorder into his pocket and returned the bunny. "This will help make things better, I promise." He left before Ms. Winters returned, his heart pounding with both fear and hope. That night, Michael and Jessica listened to the recordings. Most contained only ambient sounds, the twins' labored breathing as they slept, distant household noises. But several captured Eleanor's voice in the girl's bedroom, speaking in hushed, menacing tones. "Remember our special secret. Quiet, calm girls get to stay with Daddy. Fussy, loud girls get sent away. Your daddy loves you when you're good and quiet. The medicine helps you be good. Girls, without it you might have to go away forever. You don't want that, do you?" "No, Mommy," came the twins' synchronized, frightened response. "That's right. And remember, if you tell anyone about our special medicine, even Daddy, he won't believe you. He'll think you're being naughty and lying. And then what happens to naughty girls?" "They get sent away," Lucy's voice whispered. Michael turned off the recording, his hands shaking with rage. "This is psychological torture. She's been drugging them into submission and threatening abandonment if they resist." Jessica wiped tears from her eyes. "We have to stop her. Now." "We need one more thing," Michael said. "We need to understand why she's doing this." The answer came from an unexpected source. The following day, Michael received a call from Marlene. "Mr. Davis, I found something while cleaning that I think you should see. Mrs. Parker accidentally left her personal planner in the library. There's disturbing entries about the children." They met during Marlene's lunch break. The photocopied pages she provided contained Eleanor's elegant handwriting. Jay, increasingly frustrated with girls' energy levels, says they remind him too much of Catherine with their constant questions and demands. More subdued behavior. Seems to please him. He commented on how manageable they've become. "Higher dose tomorrow." And later, prenup clarification received. If marriage ends before 5-year mark, settlement is minimal. With twins, inheritance split 3 ways. If girls institutionalized for health reasons, their portions remain under parental control until age 30. Must research further. Michael felt physically ill. She's not just controlling them, she's after their inheritance. "There's something else," Marlene said. "I overheard Mrs. Parker on the phone yesterday. Someone's getting suspicious about the deliveries. She's planning to increase the dosage dramatically. Said something about accelerating the timeline before anyone can interfere." The revelation sent Michael into action. He contacted Andrea Lawson, an attorney specializing in child welfare cases, and presented all the evidence they had gathered. "This is disturbing," Andrea said, reviewing the materials in her downtown office. "The toxicology report alone is grounds for immediate intervention. The psychological manipulation documented in these recordings compounds the abuse." "Eleanor has convinced everyone, including Jonathan, that the girls have special needs requiring medication," Michael explained. "She's cultivated an image of the devoted stepmother, sacrificing everything for these difficult children." "Classic case of medical child abuse, formerly called Munchausen by proxy," Andrea noted. "The perpetrator creates or exaggerates illness in a dependent for attention, sympathy, or in this case financial gain." She tapped the planner copies. "These notes about the inheritance provide clear motive." "How do we proceed?" Jessica asked. "Jonathan won't believe us without irrefutable proof." "We don't go to Jonathan first," Andrea decided. We petitioned the court directly for emergency evaluation and protective orders. With this evidence, a judge should grant temporary removal while the situation is investigated. Jonathan will be blindsided, Michael warned. Better blindsided than attending his daughter's funerals, Andrea replied grimly. These dosages are escalating to dangerous levels. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of affidavits, court filings, and tense waiting. Andrea worked through her connections to expedite the process, and by Friday morning, they had secured an emergency hearing with family court judge Margaret Holloway. The court finds sufficient evidence to warrant immediate medical evaluation of the minor children, Judge Holloway declared after reviewing their submission. I'm issuing an order for temporary removal and comprehensive medical assessment at Connecticut Children's Medical Center, effective immediately. Andrea arranged for Child Protective Services officers to accompany them to Rosewood Manor that afternoon. Michael insisted on being present, despite Andrea's warning that it could jeopardize his professional relationship with Jonathan. "These girls trust me," he said firmly. "They'll be terrified otherwise." They arrived just as Eleanor was preparing the twins' afternoon medicine. Jonathan was unexpectedly home early, reviewing documents in his study. The Protective Services officers presented the court order at the door. Eleanor's composure cracked immediately. "This is absurd. Who authorized this? Jonathan!" she screamed toward the study. "Someone's trying to take the girls." Jonathan emerged, confusion turning to anger, as he saw Michael standing with the officials. "What the hell is going on here?" Andrea stepped forward professionally. "Mr. Parker, I'm Andrea Lawson, representing a child welfare petition. The court has ordered temporary removal of your daughters for medical evaluation based on evidence of potential endangerment." "What evidence? Michael, what have you done?" Jonathan's face flushed with betrayal. Eleanor rushed to Jonathan's side, clutching his arm. "They're trying to destroy our family. It's a vindictive attack." "Mrs. Parker," one officer interrupted, "please step away from the medication you're holding." All eyes turned to the rose-colored liquid in the glasses Eleanor had been preparing. "It's just their vitamin supplement," she insisted, her knuckles white around the tray. "Their doctor prescribed it. For their condition." "Which doctor, Eleanor?" Michael asked quietly. "We've contacted every pediatric specialist in Connecticut. None have the girls as patients." Jonathan's expression shifted from anger to uncertainty. "Eleanor, what is he talking about?" Andrea produced the toxicology report. "Mr. Parker, this is an analysis of the substance your wife has been administering to your daughters. It contains dangerous levels of sedatives and psychoactive medications not approved for pediatric use." Eleanor's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. "Jonathan, they're manipulating you. The girls need their medicine. They're unstable without it." "Let's ask them," Michael suggested, nodding toward the doorway, where Lily and Lucy stood watching, Lucy's knuckles white around her stuffed bunny. "Daddy," Lily said, her voice small but clearer than it had been in months. "The medicine makes us sleepy all the time. We don't like it." Jonathan knelt before his daughters, really looking at them perhaps for the first time in months. He noted their thin frames, the dark circles under their eyes, the tremor in Lucy's hands. "Mr. Parker," Andrea said gently, "we have recordings of your wife threatening the girls with abandonment if they didn't take their medicine, or if they told anyone about it." "Lies!" Eleanor shouted. "These people have manufactured evidence to turn you against me. Jonathan, after everything I've sacrificed for your difficult children—" Jonathan's face hardened. He gently took the tray from Eleanor's hands and set it on a nearby table. "My daughters have never been difficult," he said quietly. "They were joyful, energetic children until—" His voice trailed off as the realization dawned. Eleanor changed tactics instantly, tears filling her eyes. "I was only trying to help them. The doctor said their anxiety was severe. I've been carrying this burden alone while you worked. I was trying to protect you." "From worry," Michael nodded to one of the officers, who produced a tablet and played one of the recordings. Eleanor's voice coldly telling the twins they'd be sent away if they didn't take their medicine, that their father only loved them when they were quiet. The color drained from Jonathan's face. "My God," he whispered. He turned to the officers. Take my daughters to whatever medical facility you need to. I'll follow immediately." Eleanor lunged for Jonathan's arm. "You can't believe them over me. I'm your wife." "Step back, Mrs. Parker," an officer warned, moving between them. In the kitchen, doorway, Marlene appeared with Ms. Winters, both carrying boxes of unlabeled medication bottles they'd discovered hidden throughout the house. Eleanor's desperate gaze darted between the evidence mounting against her and the increasingly hostile faces surrounding her. In a final, calculated move, she dropped to her knees before the twins. "Girls, tell them Mommy loves you. Tell them you need your special medicine. Remember what happens to girls who don't listen." Lucy shrank back, but Lily stepped forward, still unsteady but with newfound determination in her eyes. "We don't want to be sleepy anymore," she said clearly. Then, turning to her, father with a trembling lip, "Daddy, we tried to be good. We were afraid you'd send us away." Jonathan gathered both girls into his arms, his shoulders shaking with suppressed emotion. "Never," he promised hoarsely. "I would never send you away. Never." The following weeks brought profound changes to the Parker family. At Connecticut Children's Medical Center, comprehensive evaluations confirmed what Michael and his allies had discovered. The twins had been systematically drugged with a dangerous cocktail of sedatives, antipsychotics, and anti-anxiety medications, all in doses far exceeding safe pediatric levels. "The good news," Dr. Melissa Chen explained to Jonathan, in the hospital consultation room, "is that we've begun a careful detoxification protocol. With proper monitoring, we expect the physical effects to diminish within weeks." "And the psychological impact?" Jonathan asked, his voice hollow. He had barely left the hospital since the twins' admission, sleeping on a cot between their beds. Dr. Chen's expression softened. "That's harder to quantify. They've experienced a profound betrayal from someone they were taught to trust. But children are remarkably resilient, especially with proper support. In the playroom down the hall, the first signs of that resilience were already emerging. Under specialized care, Lily and Lucy were slowly returning to themselves. Their movements became more coordinated, their speech clearer. Occasionally, fleeting glimpses of their former vivacity broke through. A spontaneous giggle from Lucy, a curious question from Lily. Eleanor, meanwhile, faced the consequences of her actions. Charged with child endangerment, assault, poisoning, and attempted financial fraud, she awaited trial under house arrest in her sister's Manhattan apartment. Her attorney attempted to spin a narrative of an overwhelmed stepmother who had merely followed questionable medical advice, but the evidence against her was damning. Jonathan filed for divorce immediately, the prenuptial agreement's provisions rendered moot by Eleanor's criminal actions. The financial investigation revealed she had been systematically documenting behavioral incidents and fabricating medical reports, apparently building a case for having the twins institutionalized once the marriage reached the 5-year mark specified in the prenuptial agreement. For Jonathan, the ordeal triggered a profound reassessment of his priorities. He appointed a trusted colleague as interim CEO of his company and took an extended leave to focus on his daughter's recovery. "I failed them," he confessed to Michael one evening as they watched the twins working with their therapist through an observation window. "I was so consumed with building a legacy that I didn't protect the people that legacy was meant for." "You're protecting them now," Michael replied. "That's what matters going forward." Recovery wasn't linear. There were nightmares, regressions, and moments of fear. Lucy continued to clutch her stuffed bunny, now symbolizing not just comfort, but the courage that had helped save them. Lily developed separation anxiety, panicking if Jonathan moved out of sight. But day by day, with patience and consistent care, improvements accumulated. One breakthrough came unexpectedly, 6 weeks into their recovery program. Jonathan had brought a box of family photo albums to the hospital. Together, they looked through images of happier times, birthday parties, beach trips, holiday celebrations with their birth mother before her illness. "You were so small," Jonathan said, pointing to a Christmas photo. "Just 2 years old, but already finishing each other's sentences." Lucy traced her finger over a picture of their mother. "I remember her singing," she said suddenly. "She smelled like flowers." Lilacs, Jonathan confirmed, his voice thick with emotion. She wore lilac perfume. I was afraid I'd forget everything, Lily admitted. The medicine made all the memories fuzzy. Jonathan gathered them close. We'll make new memories, he promised. And we'll keep the old ones safe together. By the 3-month mark, the twins were deemed stable enough to return home, though not to Rosewood Manor. Jonathan had sold the mansion and purchased a comfortable, less ostentatious home closer to the city. Michael had helped oversee the transition, ensuring the new space felt secure and welcoming. Jessica returned as the twins' primary caregiver, working alongside a child psychologist who visited 3 times weekly. Marlene and several other staff members who had shown concern for the girls were offered positions in the new household. As the criminal case proceeded, Jonathan established the Catherine Parker Foundation, named after the twins' birth mother. Its mission, to protect vulnerable children from medical and psychological abuse, particularly in affluent environments where such maltreatment often went undetected behind walls of privilege and social standing. Michael, whose career with Jonathan's company had seemed uncertain after his intervention, found himself appointed as the Foundation's executive director. You risked everything to protect my daughters, Jonathan told him. There's no one I trust more to help other children in similar situations. On a bright spring morning, nearly 6 months after that fateful intervention, Jonathan sat on a bench in Central Park, watching Lily and Lucy play tag with a group of children from their new school. Their laughter, once silenced by chemicals and fear, rang out across the playground. They were not the same children they had been before Eleanor entered their lives. They carried invisible scars that might never fully heal. But they were alive, thriving, and reclaiming their childhood one day at a time. Lucy, breathless from running, flopped onto the bench beside her father. Daddy, can we get ice cream? The rainbow kind. With extra sprinkles, Lily added, joining them. Jonathan smiled, savoring the mundane miracle of his daughters acting like normal children making normal requests. Absolutely. As they walked hand in hand toward the ice cream vendor, they passed Michael, who was setting up for the Foundation's first public awareness event nearby. Uncle Mike, the twins called in unison, the honorary title they'd bestowed upon him weeks earlier. Are you coming for ice cream? I wouldn't miss it, he replied, joining their small procession. Above them, spring leaves rustled in the breeze, a testament to renewal, to second chances, to the power of paying attention to the silent cries for help that often go unheard. And in Lucy's other hand, accompanying them as always, was the well-worn stuffed bunny that had helped give those cries a voice.